My name is Ian and welcome to Planted. In this video I want to share with you a really exciting new project. Now I'm a big fan of plants and perennials in particular, and I've recently been given permission to plant up the grass strip in front of my house. Now this area is about 200 square feet and it doesn't belong to me, so I got permission to use this space, and I'm going to plant it with perennials. And I want to take you along for the ride. So in this first part of this process, we've got ground preparation. I've always been amazed at how there is minimal preparation for new planting prior to planting. And that's what this video is all about. We're going to turn the soil, we're going to change the grade, we're going to increase the ability for water to move from the pavement or sidewalk into the border, free irrigation. We're going to fertilize it, and we're also going to grade it. Now, if there's one thing you take away from this video, should you choose to watch the entirety of the video, that is avoiding soil compaction. Now, here's my little short rant about tillers. Tillers have their place. I don't own a tiller because I don't like what they do, but I realize that they are the mainstay for preparing and turning over soil. The issue with a tiller is that you go up and down and up and down, and it shatters the soil in the top 4 or 5 inches. Then it gets raked, then you walk on it and it recompacts. That is not ideal. That's not the environment that plants want to grow in. So as you watch this video, you'll see how I use a machine I've got called a rotary plow, and I know that this is not widely available, and it's not as if you can go out tomorrow and rent one, but the principle is that you alleviate compaction down to 8 or 10 inches deep. What's that, 200 millimeters, and you don't recompact it. Whatever you're doing to the soil, you just let that grade stay in place and gradually settle. And by doing this, you increase the porosity, the oxygen, you let bugs and bacteria, beneficial bugs and bacteria, do their job. And all of this is done weeks in advance, so that when it is time to plant, and you can buy plants and put them in the ground, essentially your bed has had, in my case, at least 4 weeks, probably near to 6 weeks in some cases, of what I call it being on a slow cook. Because we've added organic matter, we've added fertilizer, all of that can gradually be incorporated. The fertilizer can dissolve and move throughout the soil profile, and you create an environment that is made for supporting plant growth. So in this first episode, let's focus on that. This is not the choice of plants, this is not the planting of those plants, this is the ability to prepare the bed within nature's realms of timing. I think that's what I'm trying to say. And you can do this too. Prepare the bed in advance, leave it alone, don't compact it, and you'll be astonished at the growth rate. This is the grass strip in front of my house. As you can see here, it's covered in snow. Any planting that you do needs to accommodate the conditions that the area experiences over 12 months. If I were to put in here a range of shrubs, low-growing shrubs, there's a good chance that the snowplow would push snow and ice onto them and break them. Perennials are perfect for this application. Early spring, the project for today is to prepare this grass strip. We're going to recontour it. Hopefully we're going to make it so that this erosion will no longer occur. The water comes off the grass strip onto the sidewalk and brings with it the soil. By regrading it, we can take this water that falls here and we can move it into the border, so it will become a watering source, which will be very, very useful. So that's the job for today. In turning the soil, I want to go down to a depth of 8 to 10 inches, and I use a BCS 2-wheel drive tractor with a Berta swivel plow. You could use a tiller, but don't go up and down relentlessly. You will shatter the soil. If you're a hardy soul, you could dig it by hand, or you could very carefully use an excavator bucket, being very careful not to do too much soil removal. This will then lead into being able to regrade it easily. I was able to turn the entirety of this bed in 15 minutes. I did 5 passes with the machine, and I've got a first-rate result. If you have access to heavy machinery, regrading is very easy. I don't for this application, and what you have to understand is that when you turn soil, it fluffs up and expands. And it's very difficult to estimate how much soil needs to be removed from your project to get the grade that you want. All I can recommend here is that you start at one end and just take it down to whatever is the correct grade, and then gradually work your way along the bed. Now what I'm doing here is that a few blocks from where my house is, there is an area that had some erosion control issues from winter storms. And a group of my friends and I were able to solve their need for soil to fix their erosion control, and I was also able to have them help me remove this soil. The way I did that was to use these plastic pots. Not everybody's going to want to do it this way, but it worked for me. What you'll see me doing here is absolutely not standing on the bed. Once I've dug the soil off the bed into the pots, I'm not ever going to stand on it again. And this is something that you absolutely have to do. If you have friends come over and they want to help you, and they are enthusiastic and they're fit and they really want to get on with it, you've got to tell them, walk around the bed, don't stand on it, you don't need to put your feet on there. And it's so rewarding. If you start at one end and just keep digging out soil until you get the grade that you want, before you know it, there's 4 foot done. And then you go down a little bit further and you do some more. This job took us from start to finish about an hour with my friends that came over to help me. And when you use the machine, any machine, you're going to end up with areas with more soil and less soil. So it's not as if you need to take a wheelbarrow every 4 feet. But you can see here the makings of the grade that I want. The sidewalk is uncovered, and I can take a little bit more soil out of there, and that will let the water run into the project. It's very, very important that you have a list of the things that you want to achieve. I needed to drop the grade, I wanted water to run into the bed, and I wanted to remove compaction, and that's exactly what I did. So don't lose sight of the end goal, and don't take shortcuts. This is the next day, and the area's had a chance to dry out slightly, and it will also settle. It's quite remarkable how the soil fluffs up when you turn it, but even a day later you can see how it is settled just a little bit more. Go through with a light rake. You want to pick out any chunks of grass that are on the surface. You don't want those to grow again. You will have a few, but anything you can do to make it a more manageable job. Yet again, do not stand on the bed. You have no need to stand on it. You can easily reach from either side and just smoothing out those little humps and hollows and getting this nice grade. You can clearly see here how the sidewalk or pavement edge is visible, whereas prior it had had soil covering it. So we're going to very effectively have movement of water into the bed, and we'll be addressing more of that later. Where I live, we have a recycling centre where they take in leaves and they keep them for 6 months, turn them, get them partly decomposed, and you can come along and they will give this back to you for free. So I'm able to go and get a truckload of organic matter, and it's important that it's partially decomposed. We don't want it to be raw mix of any sort. We want it partially decomposed so it can start releasing its nutrients into the soil. Now this is just logistics. You don't want to have your organic matter delivered in the back of your yard so that you then have to wheelbarrow it to wherever it is that you want to make your bed. I'm lucky that I've got access by the road and I can have it loaded free into my truck, and then as I drive my truck down the side I can shovel it out by myself. These are things to consider. Anything to make the job easier and more configured is the way to do it. I am delighted by using this mix. It's a waste product that has got a new lease of life in my application, and for that I just think it's wonderful. When you unload it, you're only looking for maybe a 5% organic matter per foot of soil. You don't need to throw down tons of organic matter. That's very unnatural. Next job is to gently rake it and spread it around evenly, yet again fixing any humps and hollows. You want to make it nice and dark, and the reason for that is that this can now absorb heat, and it will be taking that heat into the bed, further helping the microbes and beneficial bacteria do what they're supposed to be doing. Very rewarding. This whole process took an hour. So a couple of hours yesterday, an hour by myself, an hour with my friends, and an hour today to do this. Great. I want to increase the nutrient content in my planting bed, and I'm going to add 10-10-10 fertilizer. This is a ratio of nitrogen, potassium, and phosphate. It's old-fashioned. It's not for everybody. I've had great success with it, but I think I use it carefully. But use this trick. Get 2 flower pots, sandwich a piece of paper in between those 2 flower pots so that the holes don't align and you don't get this relentless flow of fertilizer. And then you want to pour a third of the bag into that pot. And this will give you really easy spreading of fertilizer over the entire area. You want to avoid hot spots where you get a really high excessive buildup of fertilizer and then none. So my goal here with this first third that I'm applying is to do about the full length, and I actually ran out towards the end, but that's okay. Because I've split my bag of fertilizer up into 3 applications, my next application I can be a little more heavy-handed in those areas that I missed. Super easy. You don't need to buy a spreader. You don't need to do anything other than hold it 3 or 4 feet high, shake it, and it'll bounce around. And what you're looking for is an even distribution of fertilizer pellets and particles across the entirety of your planted bed. This is another application, and I'm going further down because that was light. You get a really even spread doing it this way. And as I've said before, this is going to start to get planted in 4 to 6 weeks. By applying this fertilizer now, it's got 4 to 6 weeks to start getting into the soil and increasing the nutrient availability for all plants that will end up in here. This is why it's worth preparing your beds in advance of planting. Digging is a hard job. It's not for everybody. I've done my fair share. This is just lightly turning in. You push the blade in, you twist the handle, and you don't really lift the soil. And it's a wonderful way to incorporate the organic matter that I just spread and also blend in the fertilizer all at the same time. I like to think that there's a degree of logic and efficiency here. I'm not doing multiple steps. I can achieve this in 1 step. I've always enjoyed doing this job. I like it. I'm not overly grading the soil again. You can see how it's left a little bit lumpy and bumpy. That's for good purpose, and more about that in a moment. When you start to create a bed, you're essentially baking. You add all the ingredients, you mix them together, and then you leave them for a period of time at a certain temperature. In springtime, temperature increases, and let them work their magic. And that's exactly what we're doing here. A little bit of a sweep up, and now I've got this perennial border on slow cook, ready for me to start planting. On day 1, the border was turned and graded. Day 2, it had organic matter and fertilizer blended into the surface of the border. And here we are on day 3, all designed to capitalize on this very slow, steady rainfall, which means that this entire bed is now properly hydrated. This is the perfect way to set up a bed for planting. This next step is so easy, often overlooked and undervalued. I've got a stash of dried leaves that have come through the winter. They were protecting some other tender perennials, but now I'm able to include them into this border preparation. It's a thin layer, it's not a thick layer. You don't need copious amounts, and what I'm doing is I'm adding nature's blanket that will just get turned in and help bind the soil together. Adding leaves to a border like this has many benefits. First is that it improves worm activity. Second is that it allows oxygen to permeate into the soil profile, and it also allows water, keeping the surface of your bed very stable. easy step. This whole little process took me less than half an hour, from bringing the leaves in and then spreading them evenly over the border. And yet again, you'll see that I don't stand on the border. It's the smallest trick, but it makes such a difference. Soon we'll start to plant this border, and I hope that you get a chance to see it. So that is the finished project. This video was all about preparing the ground ready for planting in the future, and there'll be more videos in this series of creating a beautiful perennial border. So what did we get done? The initial pass with the machine loosened the soil, got rid of the compaction, and that helped us grade it. We dropped the grade. Dropping the grade helped us get water from the sidewalk or pavement flow into the border. That's very important. We added fertilizer throughout the whole of the area, plus organic matter, and then most recently we added leaves, and they were turned in with the back of a spade into that top few inches. The benefits are significant. I've got 8-week window that I can put in plants at any time. So those cold hardy plants that are in my garden now, I can dig them up and relocate them before they break dormancy because the border's ready. And 4 weeks from now, there'll be some plants that I've been growing that are hardy but are not yet big enough to go into the garden. They can be planted. And as we move into the mid part of May, I can put everything else in there. So I've got this nice big planting window, and I'm not locked into having to do something in a very restricted time frame. The next benefit is that we can expect minimal plant failures. They've got good nutrient, good hydration, no compaction. Our plants should thrive. And on the back of that, we can also expect to have significant plant growth. The plant, when it's encumbered without water and nutrients, it can grow, but it won't reach full size. The plants in this border, I expect, will do very, very well. So those are the benefits, and that's why it's worth doing. This was done over a few days, and it did not take hours and hours and hours. Any homeowner can do this, and I really hope that you come back and watch the next video where we start to add plants to this border, and you can do this at home. Thank you so much. Bye for now.